No, it is not some mindless animal either. Do not make that mistake. We call him Dracula.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What's up, Khalid?
Just chilling, back in Van Nuys finally.
Yeah, from where? From whence?
Those are two different questions.
Where?
From Minnesota, where we went to a longtime friend of ours and also Frankenstein of the pod, Grant Hasbrouck's, or I should say Lightbrook's, wedding weekend, and it was amazing.
Shout out,
Grant. It was such a lovely time. I got to see you do your awesome best man duties. I got to see Nikki doing the groom's person duties. And yeah, everything was amazing, and it was a swell time. So I'm not even going to ask how your weekend was, because I know.
Yeah, we were together this weekend. It was kind of fun. It was a good time. Grant, for those of you listening, was a guest recently on our Alien Resurrection episode, and was a great guest who we'll have to have on again for sure.
Oh, 100%. Couldn't be happier for the guy. He's a talented graphic designer too. So, if you ever need it, Grant Lightbrook, he's your guy.
He's your guy. Anyway, that reminds me, we should do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into some of the banter here, Khalid. Just wanted to give us a shout out to our Patreon. We do have a new patron. Shout out to Jimmy Tandberg, our Frankenstein and frequent collaborator and guest, also who helped out with the artworks, becoming our newest patron. So thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy. You've done so much for the pod already. This is just an amazing extra thing that we get from you. So thank you.
Yeah, and if you, listener, yes, you, like this podcast, you should become a patron. We have 2 levels now. We have one level where you can do it for $1 and get a nice shout out, give a thank you, and just know that you're supporting something cool. I hope that you think is cool. And a new level at $3 where you can get exclusive bonus content. Which Khalid, I'm gonna send this one over. I was gonna say bounce it over to you, or bump. I don't know volleyball terms. Hop it over to you.
Wow.
Yeah, that was smooth. Tell us about the exclusive content.
I'll be honest, listener, you're not getting the full experience of what Joe did there, because I had to see it over video, and it was so much weirder than you think. Anyways, thanks for whatevering to me, Joe. Not sure where we landed on that, but
like a bounce, I think. A bump, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe go through it again.
No, I would never. So on the Patreon, we actually have a new episode, or our first episode actually, of the Franken Bits. And within the Franken Bits, we're calling it, what was it called? It's Why the Fandom. Right, Joe?
You came up with it.
I know. You did not tell me I was going to be doing any of this. So this is freestyling for everybody involved. I'm bringing you into this shit show. Anyways, we did a Why the Fandom on the summer's greatest riverboat brawl, the Montgomery brawl. It was a very fun discussion with longtime Frankenstein Joel Brewster, aka West Coast Strange, and first time Frankenstein Keila Harris. And it was an amazing discussion, and we have it up on the Patreon now, and it really will tie into today's episode, kind of. So you should go check it out just to see what we're trying to cook up in the little extras world that is the Patreon. We really want to just expand our creative muscles and use our powers of discussion to see what else we can cook up beyond creature feature stuff.
Yeah, and there certainly will be some creature feature stuff. It's just going to be an outlet for some different kinds of things that beyond what we want to do here, or also that just maybe we didn't have time to do on the regular feed. So check that out. $3 a month, and it's all yours.
Yeah, $3, guys. you could be spending a lot more on a lot worse.
True. Yeah. Anyway, Khalid, I wanted to ask you a question.
What?
Why doesn't Dracula have any friends?
Why?
Because he's a pain in the neck.
Boo. Even by your standards, boo.
That was a good one.
Nah, man, that's like you should be slapping your knee as you say it. Like that's how you did it. I hate you. Why did we include video? It might be more distracting than anything.
And that's a segue, Khalid. What are we talking about today?
Thanks for asking, Joe. Today we are talking about the 2023 horror fantasy film Last Voyage of the Demeter. It was directed by André Øvredal, and it is also known by me as Dracula Boat. I've got a little synopsis from our homeboy Google about Dracula Boat, and it goes a little something like this. The crew of the merchant ship Demeter set sail from Carpathia to London to deliver a cargo of 50 unmarked wooden crates. However, they soon discover they're not alone as Dracula's unholy presence turns the trip into a nightmarish fight for survival.
What a monster!
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
All right. Thank you, Khalid.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Joe.
So before we get into the movie, I want you to give us an outline of how this connects to the Patreon episode. You said this is connected, so I want you to just tell everybody exactly how this is connected.
Shit goes down on a boat, and by the end of it, only a black guy is around to tell the tale. No, that doesn't really apply. There's no shit goes down on a boat, and a representative of evil nearly triumphs.
And
the Montgomery River boat brawl is like that. What do you were like priming me for things with no context. I don't know what you actually want me to say.
I don't know. It was just like I just listeners, I just got to point out that when Khalid was like really excited to do the Montgomery Brawl Patreon episode, and it was a great episode. I listened to it. It's really good. I highly recommend it. But he was like, let's tie it into that Last Voyage of the Demeter movie because it's about a boat. And that was all I got. That's all I got.
Did you need more than that, though? Be honest.
No, fair. I just wanted everyone to know where we're all standing in this.
Fair enough, guys. I don't think that any longtime listeners are surprised that is the basis for this episode, but I will also argue that we did Space Jam, so like there are dumber movies to do than the Dracula Boat one for this podcast.
For sure.
That Bruce Willis one where he's just like talking to like the dude in the vent.
Breach. I will say though that out of all the podcasts and content creators in the world, I think that Frankenstein podcast does the deepest dive on the film Breach more than anything else out there. So if you're ever interested in that movie, we have all of it.
Also, if you're not interested in that movie, just listening to the podcast is a better use of your time.
Probably, yeah. Anyway, Khalid, what did you think about this movie?
Oh, well, thank you for asking, Joe. I'll be honest. My first initial reaction, because I started and stopped it a couple times, I hadn't heard much like buzz about it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So my first reaction to like the first 45 hour of it was like, this is like bad Alien. You know? Like this would be like if like in Alien, it was like, instead of like Ripley, it was just like a bunch of just really dumb people. And instead of like them coming across, how do they find it in the first Alien again? They go to the planet, right?
They have the distress call and go to the planet.
So instead of going to distress call from the planet, this would be like if they went to like a regular like shipping port and took like a bunch of like unmarked boxes from the most clearly creepy people in the world that said like skull and crossbones on it, like do not touch, like Dracula inside. Like that's what this movie felt like for the first hour of like, just felt like a Simpsons parody of like what would happen in these kinds of movies, to the point where like I was just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel bad for people that like had every warning imaginable not to. The scar-faced man with one eye declined your high-paying job because there was a cursed symbol on the crate. Like, I don't know what more you need. But then the movie does the impossible in my eye and actually wins me over by making it like the second half entirely about a crew of people that like inherently know they're doomed, even if they don't say it. And like just reckoning with that and like what that even means for them. And like really to an even like more deeper extent, they kind of like realize they're not the main characters of this story. You know, and it's like, it's especially fascinating because like, you know, with the forward at the beginning, they have that whole thing about how like this is really just like one chapter in the Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it's like literally, or not even a chapter, it's like a reference, right?
I'll get into it. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. So like all of that to say like this movie already feels like almost like that MCUification of like, oh, like Captain America's butler needs a TV show. Like, shit like that. And before the Marvel nerds get at me, I know Captain America doesn't have a butler. But I'm just saying that to say that like this movie really does better than you would expect for something that feels like just like shameless franchise expansion by like making it about like, oh, what if they like to an extent just kind of like felt that they were like a footnote in this demon's like reign of terror. Like that's how fucking screwed they are. So that like really won me over in the second half, and I actually like rocked with the movie from there. So that's my initial thoughts, kind of long, all over the place, as per usual. How are you, Joe? What do you think?
Thanks for asking, Clete. I'm doing well. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on it. I was fine with it for a while. It just wasn't really wowing me. I do think the last half, the last act was the best part, was the strongest parts. Like you said, like when they're all kind of accepting their fate and we're like, we just need to try to take this thing down if we can, if that's even possible. Like that's the most interesting when they're trying to put that together and trying to figure out what to do with the boat. That's sort of the point when like only the interesting characters are left too. There's a lot of like cannon fodder characters. Like, I mean, fortunately, they all had different accents because they were like interchangeable.
Yeah, really,
you know?
United Nations of a
boat
transport vessel
right.
coming from like Romania. Like what the hell?
yeah. So, but yeah, no, like I mean, I will say like the cast that we had, you know, left at the end, like was a good like group of actors, like character actors, like David Deshmelchin. I don't even know how to say his last name. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Deshmelchin.
Yeah. He's great. The guy who plays Clemens was good.
Corey Hawkins.
Yeah, Corey Hawkins.
Fucking Dre doing a British accent.
Super great. He was awesome. Sir Davos was great. I mean that group of characters was fun together. Like them working together was fun.
Also, Sir Davos is Liam Cunningham.
Thank you, Khalid.
His actual name.
That's true. Yeah, he's great. He kind of arguably plays the same character, almost like a noble sailor kind of guy. Anyway.
Oh no, 110%. Like I was shocked that he could read at one point. I was like, I'm surprised he didn't just clap or like take that from it too.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
my god.
But yeah, no, that second part of the movie was definitely like where it's at. Like there was some good like tension building moments. Like I think I liked certain scenes early on. Like I liked the whole like knocking on the wood frame was kind of a fun like spooky bit where like you start to hear it. Like you know the bits where Dracula's like just first emerging. I liked the kind of evolution of Dracula as a monster. We'll get into the monster bits later, but like the fact that his first couple kills are just super brutal because he's super weak and like not really elegant, and as it goes on it gets more and more like in control of his like faculties and is able to like just take a bite of somebody's neck rather than just like smash, you know. Like I think that was a good evolution. Yeah,
even when he's smashing or like weak and brutal, it's still like in one like what looks like feeble jump for him, he still like rips a dude's throat off.
Right. That first kill though with the guy on the deck, that was pretty cool. That was a good scene. That was a good scene. Yeah.
The kills were really fun in retrospect, and like seeing the build and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What did you think? For me, like the turning point, like I started understanding what the movie was doing, but then like the real turning point was like how they sold it was like when what's his name? Clemens? Dr. Clemens.
Dr. Clemens.
He's like, well, he's only like killed like one or two of us and it's been like 18 days. So like we should be able to like fight him now that we know he's coming, right? And it's like you think the movie is gonna like do that, and that's so stupid. And then the girl's like, no, he was rationing you guys. Like he didn't want to run through his food before he knew how much time it took to get to England. And I'm just like, wow, okay, I'm in. That's a good like twist.
That's cool.
Because it's like a twist of like, it's like I don't know, like in a lot of ways it feels like a global warming metaphor or something like that, where it's like a bunch of like idiot jackasses in like 20, 30 years when like cities that we know now are like burned to a crisp or flooded are going to be like, you know, this climate change thing might be real. And like this movie is like, no, idiot, it was real 30 years ago. Now it's a real fucking problem. Like you guys, like it's way too late to think you have a shot by the time you know Dracula's there. Like,
yes.
This movie gave you ample opportunity to maybe admit there's a Dracula.
Right. A lot of them. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. Sorry to cut you off. Did you have more you wanted to say though?
No. You're right. Yeah. Like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, you're right. Like the parts where they start to realize that they're screwed is, yeah, it's easily the most like unique parts of it. Like the first part is like pretty generic, and it goes on. Even though with all of that, like I would say that the effects of this show and like you said, the kills, are the highlight, the standout. Like the visual effects, the monster design, that stuff. Like arguably, I think is what this movie is about. I think you're going to see there. Like I think that the plot is fine. Like we know the plot. That part we're talking about is cool, but I think like the effects do outshine the movie as a whole a little bit. In my opinion, I think it's a fine movie. It's a pretty good movie. Like that second half especially. But I think there's a disparity. I think the effects are like the centerpiece.
I mean, I can definitely see that. I don't know. Like we'll get into the effects of it all. I guess it's just like for me, it's like I agree. Like so much of that first part felt like a slog because it was like so heavy handedly being like, there is a Dracula on the boat and everybody being like, what do you think it could be?
Yeah.
And you're just like,
the alien element, right? Where there's like the deniers. Like it's like we've seen that movie before.
But it's done in such a like broad and like sloppy way that you're just like, I don't care if I don't even care that the kid dies. You know what I mean? I'm just like, even the kid should have known there's a Dracula on the boat. Like this is the past. Like if there was ever a time to suggest that vampires are real, it's the past. You know, you might sound crazy now, or even in the Alien universe where it's like, we've been going planet to planet. Why would we think there's like a super demon monster thing on the ship? You are allowed to say that kind of stuff, and you should almost immediately. I don't even care if like your goats get a cold. You blame it on a vampire if you can.
Right.
You know?
I mean, with all the superstition that the sailors already have, like why not have a demon? Like I will say, like this is the original. Like it's based on the original Dracula story. So like Dracula was not like in the popular culture like terminology in this story. You know, like.
Well,
right.
yeah,
So
they
like
keep calling him the devil, which tells me that you have some framework for what's coming.
There's some frame of reference. So
yeah.
I will say, side note though, like we keep comparing to Alien. I do have a quote from the director where he does say it was really an Alien style story set in the ocean in 1897. He calls it out himself. Like he was inspired by Alien and he wanted to make an Alien style story. So
yeah, but he was like, what if there wasn't a Ripley?
Yeah. That kind of sucks, yeah.
What if there's just like, what if there were like two maybe Ripleys if you put them together and a bunch of idiots?
A bunch of idiots, really, yeah. That's true.
Dumbest people you've ever fucking seen on a boat.
Yeah.
Including the kid.
I know, yeah.
Honestly, here's my thing though. I don't like directing this must have been so frustrating because you have to keep trying to like rationally explain how like, and like you said, like clumsy murders at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Like, how does Dracula keep picking you off? Like, it's just I keep thinking of that Community episode where like Abed tries to do his version of like a horror movie, but it doesn't work because it's just him and Troy just standing back to back with knives in a room, so no one can surprise him. And I'm like, what? You should have done that here. You guys, the first time like your livestock got murdered, you should have done that. But definitely the first time the same thing happened to a crew member, you should have been just like, we're gonna stand in a circle with knives and guns until this fucking thing docks. I don't.
Yeah, just the whole time.
We will go to the bathroom in a circle. We will use the steering wheel in a circle. Dracula's gonna have to work for his supper.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. Anyways, I could keep going on and on, but you're right. Like the movie itself wasn't like a stellar achievement in writing or anything. The effects really help it, and the back half like really saves it when you realize like the writers are just gonna make it a self-aware thing.
Yeah, I think ultimately, all in all, like I appreciate the movie more than I like it. Like it's not going to be something I'm going to throw on and be like, oh, I just really want to watch this movie. Like I appreciate that it was made. I appreciate what went into it, but I like it, but I don't love it.
No, I'd recommend it to somebody that's like you've got like a few hours to kill on like a Sunday.
Worth a watch.
Perfect movie. Like it's something new, and you don't feel like you wasted your time at the end of it.
Yeah, and I do see, and now's a good time to talk about like the source material a little bit. Like I think conceptually that is a cool idea. I know you mentioned like it's Marvelized, like a small bit of like a larger thing, but I like the idea.
Before Marvel though, like we can't give them the credit for like spin-offs.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is like I think like I like the conception of this. Like so, this is an adaptation of. It's a chapter. I think it's in most versions of Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's the 7th chapter called "The Captain's Log." And the chapter is kind of broken down into just entries of the captain's log. So we hear entries like the voiceover from the captain throughout the book a little bit, but like the versions in the actual book are different. We don't have a lot of other named characters. He just talks a little bit about his first mate in the book. And it's a pretty brief chapter overall that in most Dracula adaptations, like film and adaptations in the past, like this chapter isn't even on film a lot. It's usually like just like a newspaper clipping or like a reference or like barely a scene. So it's often like one that's kind of forgotten. So it's kind of cool that it's getting this like, full on treatment to like tell a whole story with it. Even though we kind of know how it's supposed to end in a sense, they kind of play around with that a little bit with the Clemens character too. But there were a lot of changes that were made ultimately, like the crew. Like we give a lot of like personality to the group, the kid and the captain in the text like does kind of go mad. Like he starts to go mad throughout it. And it's interesting how like what propels him to go mad in this one is basically like the death of his grandson, right? Like he has to endure like the what he thinks is just the natural death of his grandson, like dying on his deathbed, but then like again after he burns up after becoming a vampire, like a second time, like driving the captain mad is kind of an interesting catalyst to see like where he got in the book in a sense. So like that's cool. I also feel like there's another element that they changed where like Dracula has like these brides in the novel, like these 3 women who are kind of like at his beck and call, do whatever he wants. And with the character that we have in this one, what's her name? The girl.
Oh, it's Anna.
Anna, that's right. With the Anna character, I think it's like kind of an interesting like subversion of that like bride character trope where like those women like had zero agency whatsoever in the book, and she's like given a chance to like be like, this is not what I want for myself. She like able to make a sacrifice and like change the course of her fate in that sense. And I thought that was kind of a cool like flipping of that narrative, right? Like you said, it's not quite a Ripley character, but like her with the Clemens character kind of like equal to Ripley in a sense, right?
Like 3/4 of a Ripley.
Yeah, in a sense. But like anyway, I think all that's cool. And I think those changes were interesting to really flesh out this is like a full story. We also have a difference in the end of the chapter. I believe what I read was that Dracula like turns into like a dog creature and like runs off the boat and escapes to the mainland, like London area. And that's kind of like how that chapter ends. In this, we don't see any of that. There's no like dog transformation thing, but we do know that he does escape. So it serves the same purpose.
Once he could fly, I was like, oh, he's choosing to stay on this boat.
Right. Yeah. He can go anywhere he wants. He's fucking with them.
That to me was the most fucked up part. When he goes after the dude on the sailboat, it's like, the rowboat, like the lifeboat.
Oh, yes. That was a good scene too.
First of all, that dude sucked. Like, I'm sorry, but like
the religious guy.
Yeah, dude. Like, and he's like into like 17 religions or something too. So it's like you're sanctimonious about like multiple religions. I really hate you. And you serve me food. Like I have to interact with you. That's bullshit. Get somebody else. Anyways,
But that scene, his death scene was cool. Like rowing alone.
Like, you are a dick, Dracula.
Totally. And he's like mimicking people's like words and stuff. It's pretty creepy.
He went full predator there.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, but since you brought it up, the ending. I call bullshit. Why the fuck would Clemens go after that guy? By herself, no less? And then his reasoning for it, the people on that ship like died trying to stop you. No, they didn't. Most of them died thinking it was the girl who was like in a coma for 3 days.
Yeah. Like bad luck from the girl or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of them just like was like, no, it's because of you heathens. Like and one of them was outright racist to you. You're a black doctor in the 1800s or whatever the fuck. Like, and you're gonna fight for that guy? Fuck that. Like, you have so many things you could do with like your set of skills, and there's a Dracula out there. Like, you are so useful to the world, and all you're gonna do is like what? Fucking follow Dracula by yourself? Like, the ship full of murders didn't like teach you anything?
Right. No, I think that you could make the case that last scene is like the worst part of the movie in some sense, because that's the Marvelization of it, trying to set up the sequel.
That is some Craven sequel building shit, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The actual Last Voyage of the Demeter coming in 2025.
Yeah.
This time the Demeter is pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know what they wanted to really do. Like I don't know what they want. I mean, they obviously want to set up a sequel, but I guess like I don't know. Are they planning to add like the Clemens character into the mix, like along with like the other classic like vampire hunters, like the Van Helsings? They won't even let stuff? You be like, what are they gonna do,
bro? You think they're gonna let you be a vampire hunter? Like, you are not getting the permits for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, this movie didn't do very well, and sadly, I guess you could say. So I don't think it's gonna get that sequel. But like, it'd be interesting to see what they wanted to have done.
I think it's really funny that like Romania was like so desperate for a doctor that like they like were like, we'll hire you to him.
Yeah.
And then he got out there and they were like, oh, we're literally so racist. We will turn down a Cambridge educated doctor. No replacement even lined up. Nobody, like, it's presumably we have to send out letters to Europe again and find another like Ivy League doctor, but you're too black for us. I love the Romania's on that. Like, it's just like, that's like way before like propaganda even existed. That's just like a gut level racism. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like people would hate you on sight. And that's all I have to say about the Last Voyage of Demeter, Joe.
There you go, Khalid. That was great. That was great.
Should we monster?
Well, we can. I wanted to ask you a little bit of a question of why. So this is part of the Universal monster, like, all those Universal monsters. Bram Stoker's Dracula itself is a public domain like text, but like the iteration of Dracula that we see from Universal is like owned, I think, for a while now. That being said, this is being an adaptation of the novel, could have been made by anyone, but it is in that Universal category. And I was just kind of doing a little digging into like the Universal films that have come out, Universal monster films that have come out over the past several years, and almost unanimously have all been flops. So like the ones that like Van Helsing 2004, The Wolfman with Anthony Hopkins 2010, Dracula Untold 2014, the Tom Cruise Mummy 2017, even Renfield, and then this one, like all have been like flops. Like, why is such like an important, like a really storied franchise? I don't want to say franchise. I guess it's a franchise at this point. Like Universal Monsters, classic films, like so important, like pop culture and sort of film history and like monster history. Why is like every attempt to like bring any of that back into the mold been met poorly with like moviegoers or critics even, or like, I mean, critics, you could say like arguably a lot of them aren't great movies, but like, why do they keep getting it wrong?
That's a really good question. I think one of them is it's probably a marketing thing ultimately. Horror is usually like a gangbusters thing, but a lot of it comes down to like a really grabby premise, and 100-year plus old monsters don't really like turn heads like they used to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we have so many different iterations. They're on cereal boxes. They're in cartoons. Like it's just, yeah, sorry. I don't like get hard for Frankenstein. All right. Like obviously we're Frankenstein's podcast. That's literally what we do. But like Johnny Moviegoer is like, they're 50 Frankenstein references deep by the time they get to like the theater. You
Right.
know, like literally children know what Frankenstein is.
True.
So I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is that with the exception of a couple of these movies, they don't really engage with the present day the way a lot of horror does, you know, like your Get Outs, your Barbarians. Those movies really explore like society today, whereas these other movies, like even Last Voyage of the Demeter, like obviously they're trying to stay faithful to the source material, but that also just means like a bunch of people with like bonkers accents on a boat, and nobody can like really connect to it in the same way because like the issues they're going through. I'm sorry, I'm just never gonna go on like an Atlantic voyage with a bunch of people that like just take unlabeled crates with cursed symbols on them. You know, it's that cave dwelling movie all over again.
The Descent. Yeah.
The Descent. And more to that point, I think it's just that like I think that Invisible Man was really well done.
That's that's like the one
That's
of
the
two
one.
I had under
Yeah.
successes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2020 Invisible Man. Yeah.
And so I think it's really just that. And like, I think it's like, you still need to, these are still stories and they need to be told by people that like have some kind of investment or engagement with it that like makes it like grabby. You know what I mean? Like that update to the Invisible Man is like a really well done concept. And it speaks to like what made like horror really awesome in the 60s and 70s and is making it awesome now, that commentary. So I just feel like if the only commentary is, once Dracula's got you on a boat, you're fucked. Like, I don't know. Do you need to watch that movie immediately or at all?
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
I think that you make a good point. I think that a lot of the films that are on the list, like the Tom Cruise Mummy or even Dracula Untold, like that era, they were trying to reboot it like as like action thrillers, like with a bit of horror to it. I think they were taking the wrong lessons from like the Mummy, the one from the 90s with Brendan Fraser, which was great. But like I think they were trying to do that with a bunch of their properties. And I don't think that was really I think the Mummy was its own thing and copying that was a bad call.
I think calling your shot like you're Babe Ruth when you're a fucking
Yeah.
film studio is getting really tired because it's just embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like if Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man came out with like a slate of movies after it, like, or actually Edward Norton's Hulk did that. Like, you know how quickly like studios would get cold feet and just bail? Like, what if they just stuck with it? Obviously, they take out Johnny Depp and anybody else who's been canceled since that Dark Universe announcement. But it's like, you can't confidently tell us what the next 15 years are and then like shit your pants every time one of them flops. Like you're either in on this or you're not. And people don't want to invest in universes that seem like they're going to falter immediately.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. That's a great point. Yeah. I think you're right. But I think like a big piece too is like, I mean, we forget it that these old movies like were scary, but they were very scary. Like at the time, like that was a big part of it. And I don't think those movies are really making an attempt to be scary, you know?
And scary
this one did
necessarily the goal, you know. Like I think it's just good, you know.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Like
sometimes scary means good. Sometimes
like tense. I guess tension, like building tension from like you said, from like something like mainstream, like the Invisible Man was able to do that like really well with like building tension from like modern like scary ideas, right?
Side note: that knife scene. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, back to what you're
Anyway, I will say that for this movie though, like I think this movie is like on the better end of like those movies that we listed. Like this is a better movie than a lot of those. I think it does a good job to make Dracula feel scary again. Like the look of it, the vibes are well done there. So
I have to keep reminding myself I'm 33 now. So like a lot of the stuff that I see as tropey and shit like that would be like amazing when I was like 15.
True.
So like I honestly, like if you don't have that much experience with these kinds of stories, if you happen to be a younger listener or something, like check it out. Like it's definitely a worthwhile entry, and I'm glad that like cool semi-original stories like this are being told.
Same. A little before we monster, I got a little bit of background information too. So like the director actually started planning this in 1992. Which is wild to think because he worked with he wrote the initial spec script back then. He befriended a colleague who worked on that the 92 like Bram Stoker's Dracula adaptation. He was working at a model shop, and they took interest in like a miniature that they made of the Demeter, and kind of wrote an alien inspired story about that ship. And so that's kind of where the inspiration for this film came from way back then. One of the things that actually really interested me looking into this too was like ships. I feel like we're seeing a lot of like new stuff with like pirates, like Our Flags Means Death, and like other thing like pirate ships. One Piece also like building like these really big like model ships for like your sets. And I was kind of curious about what that looked like. So I actually looked into like the ship design for this movie. And there's a production designer named Edward Thomas who's built numerous sets, but he brought the Demeter to life. He replicated the decks and the interiors of the ships with functioning sails and simulated ocean waves to like rock it. And I have an article, and I'll just share it in the show notes, but it's just like, for some reason I just went down a rabbit hole, like thinking about like recreating like an old 1800s ship as your set. Like, it's really cool, like especially like in a world where a lot of times like sometimes the sets aren't anything like Quantumania or something,
I mean, a practical set is a real breath of fresh air. I just like, it still felt like, and I don't blame them for this, you're not going to actually shoot it at sea, but like
Yeah.
It was just a lot of times where I was just like, this just feels like it was like on a lot somewhere.
That's true. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's weird though, because I think like a practical set shouldn't be a breath of fresh air at this point, but it like is,
I mean, it is when studios are like just bottom lining it to the point where they would rather just like abuse like 12 VFX renderers to make a set, as opposed to just pay to make a good like set that actors could interact with.
Also, shout out to the Disney VFX workers voting to unionize.
Union strong.
Hell yeah.
Frankenstein's podcast. We are pro union.
Pro union.
Hell yeah. Hoorah.
Hoorah. Anyway, on that note.
On that note.
Yeah. Anyway, monster. Should we monster it up?
Let's monster.
Yeah. Okay. So we the Dracula we see here is performed pretty much entirely in a suit by longtime creature specialist Javier Botet. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. We have seen his work before, Khalid. He did Alien Covenant as well, the alien there, and he's done countless other creature works. So
wow.
He's kind of a story. He's like a Doug Jones type where he's all over the place.
Terry Notary.
Yeah, Terry Notary, kind of like that too. So the prosthetics that transform Botet into this, like the creature, was a guy named Goran Lundstrom, who was fresh off his Oscar-nominated work in House of Gucci.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just got done making Jared Leto's fat suit.
He did. So he comes from that to this. And apparently it took 4 hours to apply all the makeup and prosthetics each day. There was another artist that started the project before Lundstrom came on, who made a few rough designs that they started from. The first concepts were much more zombie-like, and then once Lundstrom came on, he kind of shifted it to more of a bat-like creature design, which when you look at it is definitely like inspired by the kind of like the Nosferatu like vampire version of Dracula. There was a lot of like almost much of this was practical, but there was some CGI done in post. Like you can kind of tell some of it. Lundstrom points out that he did get to interact with some of the folks on the digital side, but he wishes, and apparently this is just something he always wishes, is that there was more interaction between the practical and digital folks. And he said that doesn't always happen on set, which is kind of an interesting like inside baseball piece.
It shows, unfortunately.
I think you see that sometimes, but the director also talks about how he worked with Guillermo del Toro. So on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, that adaptation, and he was saying like one of the lessons he learned from Del Toro is just the importance that he's always placed on having like your monster or your creature, whatever that's the thing that the actors have to like play off of, is something that's there on set. So like that's why there was such an importance in general, like placed on having this like creature there in like a practical physical suit. There were some interesting like specific like directives that like Øvredal, like the director, said that he wanted Dracula not to have eyelids, so the eyeballs were showing most of the time. And apparently the smile, like I don't know if you noticed that Dracula had this smile all the time, this like permanent smile. Did you see that?
I guess I did. I didn't like register it.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it, and it's creepy. But apparently, that was a request direct from Steven Spielberg because this was an Amblin produced film.
Oh.
Yeah, he thought that would feel eerie. Apparently, it reminded of something from like the '60s or something. But he was like, make it smile all the time.
It'd be really funny if like he didn't even know they were making this movie. He just like had that thought. He's like, hey, are we making any Dracula movies? What if we made that dude smile?
Yeah, just like
Fucked up, right?
Just send that on.
Yeah, like just send that out to any Dracula stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
Smiling Dracula, the trend of 2023.
Trend of 2023. I love it. Yeah, that's how Spielberg comes with his ideas.
Just like BuzzFeed titles. Top 10 smiling Draculas. Do they even do listicles anymore? How old is this reference?
I don't. They might.
Keep it in, Joe. They need to see I'm a hack. The people need to see this.
Yeah, as you would say, the sausage.
I would not. I said that maybe once years ago at this point.
I feel like you've admitted to being your thing now.
Never once have I admitted it to. Yeah, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Cool about the smiling Dracula. That's so cool.
Yeah. The only other element I kind of had about this was just like that they definitely made this Dracula more of like a feral like monster creature than a lot of the Draculas we've seen in the past. Like a lot of adaptations make him very like elegant, like charming, and like that kind of scary, right? Like I can kind of like get under your skin in that way. Like this one's brutal. Like this one could be very brutal. What do you think about that for this? Like, do you like that in terms of like a Dracula adaptation, or do you like the more like Gary Oldman, like charming gentleman type?
Honestly, like the victims on this were like so scraggly and just like dog shit that like it would have felt a little classist to have like a charming Gary Oldman Dracula just like walking up to them all like in his robe and shit, just like slick back hair full of product. Like these guys, you killed their food source, man. Like you gotta stunt on him too. So like I think it was a good choice just making him even more like feral. But like I think that's also kind of like narratively the point is like these guys are supposedly like the toughest of tough, you know, like they're exploring the sea. It's kind of like the crew from The Thing, where it's like the reason that the Four Bears test wouldn't work for them is because like that's like they wish it was four bears, you know, like these guys wish it was a stowaway or wish it was like literally any number of other things attacking them that they are actually prepared for. And so the fact that they're like gruff and like lower class and stuff like that is like narratively to the point that like this thing is even more primal, more base than that. And they're screwed.
Fascinating. Khalid, speaking of the Four Bears test.
Yeah.
Would this version of Dracula pass the Four Bears test? Bringing it back.
No, because it can fly. Like the dude on the lifeboat is set. He's good.
Yeah. If it was Four Bears.
Yeah. Cause like, yeah, as soon as you're on the lifeboat, like the bear can't fly. And none of them can. But yeah, other than that, I think it does pass because somehow these people do not hear loud, clumsy murders on the same boat. You know, even though they established that like if you hit one beam, you hear it all across the ship. Gruesome murders happen in sequential nights. Because these people cannot hear it. So I think Four Bears would have like so much like ease killing on this thing.
Yeah. All right. So it's a generally no, but kind of yes, huh?
I think it's still just a no, but I'm just also dunking on the movie for being like dumb about how all these loud, clumsy murders keep happening on a boat.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Like Mr. Bean could be a serial killer on this boat.
Yeah.
Truly, just like hitting pots and pans and nobody would wake up or anything. They'd just be like, oh, someone got murdered last night and there's a bunch of banana peels on the ground.
Anyway, speaking of bananas, Khalid.
Shut up.
Would you fight or would you flirt with this iteration of Dracula? Why'd you tell me to shut up?
Because he said, speaking of bananas, you could just go to the next thing sometimes.
No, you got to have a segue. That's how podcasts work.
Yeah, but now you've perverted bananas, a famously never perverted fruit.
It's true. And
Yeah,
something we could do. We can claim to fame here.
No, yeah, you got to live with that. I'm not claiming that. I respect the banana because I'm allergic to it. Anyways,
All right.
fight.
Move on with your banana stuff.
You really hit a reservoir. Okay, fight or flirt. Dracula from the famous movie Dracula Boat. I guess fight it. Like he just like would have no use for me. I can't. You know what I mean? Like he's playing 3D chess. Like this is literally just like everything Dracula's doing in this movie is like when like basketball players would like play like European leagues or something just to like stretch their muscles, or like the All-Star game. You know what I mean? Like none of it counts. Like we're just getting in like game ready for the real stuff that's coming, you know? Like so I don't even think a relationship saves you in this instance. You know, like he has already sentenced everyone there to death. So like at that point, I think for me, fighting him is advantageous because I am already smarter than even the only black doctor of that time period, so seemingly. You know what I mean? Like
only one of that time period.
Seemingly, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or at least the only one that would go to Romania on a job offer. Yeah, I think I'm smarter than even him by the way this movie depicted all of them. And that to me says like, you know, that saying of like, you don't need to be faster than the bear. You just need to be faster than your slowest friend. Like, that's kind of the situation here. Like, by like night 2, I'm like, well, all the livestock got their throats ripped out. So I don't know what you guys think is happening, but I'm going to act accordingly. So yeah, I'm gonna fight it just by virtue of like I'm not dumber than like everybody else. So like I could get away.
Yeah, I think that's a great point and hard to disagree with.
Yeah.
No,
sorry, first ever black doctor potentially.
Potentially.
I don't know, Clemens. I don't know what they're saying with your story.
Yeah.
I also would not want you to be my doctor based on your performance in this. Oh, and did he invent blood transfusions?
Well, he also didn't check for blood types. Like when I was watching with Nikki, like she was like, "We don't know their blood types."
That's literally. I have no history in medicine, and I know you don't just like hook yourself up. Like it's not like an HDMI cord. Like, well, he's got a vein and I've got a vein. Like, no. There's a lot of stuff that could go horribly wrong, and you don't even know what she's infected with.
Yeah,
and you just created a straight bloodline. Like
that'd be kind of interesting if like he did a transfusion and like got vampired that way. That'd be kind of interesting.
If they did like a Daywalker Blade thing where it's
like
when you cleave her your blood, some of hers got into you, and it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna bitch slap Dracula. Although now I think it'd be really, really funny if the reason he left Romania was because he just kept like trying to do blood transfusions no matter what the like ailment.
And people kept dying.
It's like, I've got a broken leg. All right, hook him up. And they're all going through him. He just says it's because he's black.
Twist.
That's my retcon that makes this movie make a lot more sense. Everybody else on that pirate ship is as stupid as you would think people would be, or not a pirate ship, vessel, whatever.
Yeah.
But he is supposedly a smart doctor, and the only thing that makes sense is that he's lying, and he's just like a shitty doctor that only knows how to do blood transfusions.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Makes the story way better in my mind.
That's canon now?
That's canon. And that also explains why you would go on a cat and mouse game through the alleys of London with Dracula. Like, truly, the more I think about it, like, the more I'm glad Romania did not take that doctor. Like, sometimes I'm on the black guy's side when they say something's racist, as you will see in the Franken bits, but not a lot of times, in this instance, this very specific instance, Romania was probably right to hold out.
Wow. Bold assertions here.
Literally just taking the text that the movie gave me. This man should not be practicing medicine.
Yeah. No disrespect to Corey Hawkins. He's great.
he has maybe one weapon as he walks into that alley. Like, we don't see him holding anything. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt that he wouldn't go after Dracula unarmed.
Yeah, right.
Truly some psychotic shit. And Dracula knows you're following him? What are you doing?
He like basically baited him. He was like, follow me. Like,
Yeah, he
right?
grazed your neck like he's like a swinger at a bar or something. Like, bruh, you don't even have the element of surprise. Like, this is Dracula. You know for a fact what he's capable of. Anyways.
And that's where we leave it.
Fight.
Fight. There we go. Well, that's the last voyage of the Demeter for us.
We will never voyage the Demeter again. You can count on that.
Until the sequel comes out.
Until the actual last voyage of the Demeter comes out.
The true last voyage.
Really this time.
Really this time. The last voyage of the Demeter 2 for real this time.
2 voyage, 2 last.
I'd watch that one.
Well, lucky for you, they've announced 17 movies coming out between now and 2035.
Nice. All right. Should we move into our final segment of the show?
We should.
Our final segment is our What the Fandom segment, where we share a couple things or 1 or 2 things that we're kind of into in the moment, may or may not have anything to do with monsters or the movie in question. So, Khalid, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week, I'll split it between 2 things. The first is the new Amazon Prime show, Gen V. It's a spinoff of the show The Boys, which you and I are fans of. I think we've recommended it before. It's pretty good. It's essentially, if you like The Boys, it's more of that, but like through a YA lens. And like they kind of do like the CW thing where it's like a bunch of like attractive teens are solving like a mystery on a campus. But even with all that, like they still keep a lot of the bite and edge that The Boys has brought to like superhero commentary, and they do a really good job like focusing that lens on like topics that the youth specifically are engaged with now. And so it's only like 4 episodes in at this point, so it's really easy to catch up, and it's really hard to say if the season's a hit yet. Even with the first 4, there were some things I like loved and didn't love, but I think there's definitely something there to like, you know, like we got to give these shows a shot. They're only giving most of them 3 seasons, so if they're even kind of good, just give them a shot, because that's how they get better, folks. That we used to know that as a country. And my other What the Fandom is going to be a local LA eatery / music lounge called The Baked Potato.
Ooh.
Yeah, I went there with some friends a few weeks ago, and I just really love the atmosphere. And you're never going to believe this. The only thing on the menu is baked potatoes. Like literally just the biggest potatoes you've ever seen. They like obviously will like, you can have some with like meat in them or like a loaded veggies. It's basically like a pizza place, but if instead of pizza, it was baked potatoes. And then they have live like jazz music, and it was so fun and atmospheric. And I don't know, I just think that like, especially living as long as I have in LA now, I get a lot of people that come here wanting to do the same things. And so really cool, specific local vibe stuff like that gets lost in the shuffle of like the popular touristy stuff. So for those of you who maybe have a plan to visit LA or maybe want to visit LA someday, I would add the baked potato to your list, because it's a really fun, specific like vibe. Like it's almost like the closest I've seen to like a true like LA thing, in that like, you know, it just feels like a weird cultural touchstone, almost like borderline Midwestern, and it was so quaint, but it still felt LA to me. You know what I mean? And it's been around for like a really long time. So it's a famous jazz club on top of all of that. And yeah, the music was good. And honestly, the potatoes were hidden. I will recommend, if you have a date, to just split one though, because those things are like as big as like 2 heads.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are my 2 What the Fandoms this week. What about you, Joe? What the Fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I'm just looking at the baked potato website now, so yeah. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Yeah, you're gonna put that on your list next time you visit.
100%. Yeah, I want to go. My fandom this week, I just finished a book, and I don't remember if I recommend this when I started this, but I just recently finished. It's called Starplex by Robert J. Sawyer. It's a science fiction novel that I discovered a while back by just kind of looking up books that capture the vibe of Star Trek that weren't actually Star Trek. I don't know why I was looking that up. Like, there are Star Trek books, but I was looking for that. And it really does. Like, it's interesting in how it feels very Trekky, in that there's like a very diverse group of aliens, a crew that's like out there to just like to do first contact with aliens and discover new things. That's their mission. They do a cool thing with it where it's they don't go the like naval route with it. So like the captain isn't the captain. It's more like he's the director, and it's more of like a scientific vessel, and he has no real power over anybody. So he has like moments where he encounters crew members who are arguing. He's like, oh, I can't really tell them to stop because I'm just the director here, you know? Like that's a really interesting element where he like changes the formula a bit. But the story is pretty cool. It has this like kind of epic scope to it. There are like 4 races who've come together to build this giant ship called Starplex, which its main mission is just first contact. There's these kind of wormholes that have brought these races together, and they're discovering new entrances to different wormholes that bring into different parts of the galaxy, and in some cases outside of our own galaxy, and they're trying to figure out what's there. There's conflict between the races. There's like things that they have in common. The races are very alien to each other, which is interesting. One of the races is actually dolphins and humans, just like, yeah. One of them's dolphins. Like, they just realized that dolphins were like also like sapient and are on the ship also and do piloting. Actually, piloting is one of the things they do in the ship, so that's kind of cool. There are like the plot revolves kind of around time travel, where the wormhole is like spitting out these like giant like stars, and they're like, why are these stars coming back from time? Because like basically it expands the mass of our like known universe, which it shouldn't happen. So it's like really sciencey stuff, and there's like these dark matter like energy creatures that they have to kind of like learn to communicate with. It gets really like heady and some really cool sci-fi concepts that I don't really feel would really ever work in like a visual medium unless it was done like really technically in a certain way. But reading the book, like, it was really fun. There's some small critiques I have with it, but ultimately like it captures that Star Trek like vibe of like the old school like motion picture where it's like trying to be really trippy and really weird, but in a really engaging way. So I really enjoyed that book. I breezed through it. That was just finished it, so I'm on to something new now. But I would recommend it if you're looking for a cool, like, interesting sci-fi novel. So Starplex by Robert J. Sawyer is my recommendation. I do have one more quick one. I'd recommended this before, but I'm on season 2 of the Amazon Prime series Wheel of Time, based on the Robert Jordan books. And about 3 episodes in, it takes a lot of changes from the source material, which I don't mind, but I feel like season 2 is kind of stepping up and feels a little bit more competent than season 1 in some ways, which I'm liking. There are some really like dramatic elements that I'm not sure if I like at this point, but I like some of the commitment that they're making to some of the like storytelling devices that they're trying to do here. So it's I think the second season of the show at this point is showing that it's like really kind of growing up. It's almost like removing itself further from the books, which is an interesting choice. I think if anyone's read the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series, there's this whole concept of the wheel turns, ages come and pass. So like basically like time repeats itself in different ways. So like on one way that fans kind of look at the series is like, this is another spinning of the wheel that's different from the story in the books, even though it's echoed of it. And so like, I think that's a cool way to look at it. Yeah, I know Wheel of Time season 2, it's solid so far. Cool fantasy action. I'm only about 3 episodes in, but I think the final episode just dropped last week, I believe, of this season. So it's another one I'd like to support. I think I really have enjoyed the book, so I'm hoping that we see more from it too. So yeah, those are mine.
Thank you, Joe. Those are some great recommendations.
Thank you.
So it sounds like you guys have a lot of cool things to check out, unless you're not in LA, and then you have 3 things to check out. But yeah, thank you all for listening to another fun discussion on Frankenstein's podcast. Do us a favor and give us 5 stars and a glowing review on Apple Podcast. And also check out that Patreon, because we're going to add even more fun stuff, not just riverboat brawl related stories, although mostly those you should know. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, check out all of that and more. And until next time, creep it easy.